Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to share something simple, but powerful. What you do daily is what you become. We all dream of success. We want to be great, to achieve something meaningful, to live a life that matters. But the truth is, your success doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you do every single day. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Every person has dreams. Some dream of becoming wealthy, others want to be influential, and many simply want to live a life of purpose and peace. But no matter what the dream is, the bridge between that dream and reality is built with daily habits. Not big one-time events, not sudden luck, not grand gestures, but small, seemingly invisible actions repeated every day. Think about this. A person who reads for 20 minutes a day might not look any different from someone who scrolls on their phone for 20 minutes. But check in on them again in 6 months or a year, and the difference is undeniable. One is sharper, more articulate, filled with fresh knowledge. The other is distracted, always chasing the next thing, but never grounded. What happened? One simple habit, done daily. This is how life works. The results are slow. So slow you often don't notice them happening. And because of that, most people quit too early. They go to the gym for a week and see no change, so they stop. They try to eat healthy for a few days, then reward themselves with junk food because it didn't make a difference anyway. But what they miss is this: transformation is not a one-time event. It's a quiet accumulation of small efforts. In the world of business, the people who rise are not always the smartest or the fastest. It's often the most consistent. The ones who show up every morning, even when they feel like sleeping in. The ones who keep calling, even after 10 rejections. The ones who listen, learn, improve, not in a flashy way, but with quiet persistence. And over time, those small actions build trust. They build skill. They build resilience. And eventually, they build a result that looks impossible to everyone else. But this principle is not only about success in work. It applies to relationships, health, mindset, and leadership. A person who takes 5 minutes every day to truly listen to their partner will build a deeper connection than someone who buys flowers once a year. A leader who shows kindness and patience daily earns more respect than one who gives a loud motivational speech once a month. It's the small things, done daily. Habits are like seeds. Each one contains the potential to become something much larger, but only if you plant it, water it, and protect it day after day. You can't rush it. You can't skip it. The moment you stop watering the seed, it stops growing. This is why people fail. Not because they didn't have the talent or the idea, but because they didn't respect the process. They wanted fast fruit from a tree they never watered. Now ask yourself, what are you doing every single day? Not what do you wish you were doing, not what do you plan to start next week. What are you actually doing daily? Because that's who you're becoming. If you waste your mornings, you're becoming someone who starts the day late and scattered. If you constantly compare yourself to others online, you're becoming someone who doubts their own value. But if you wake up, focus on your goals, learn something, move your body, help someone, you're becoming someone strong, someone wise, someone unstoppable. You don't need a perfect plan to start. Just one good habit, one consistent action. And if you can't do something big, do something small. Read one page. Do 5 push-ups. Write one idea. Send one kind message. Do it today. Then do it tomorrow. Then again. That's how you build momentum. That's how habits work. They start as effort. Then they become automatic. And eventually, they become your identity. When you realize that your habits are shaping your future more than your intentions ever will, you'll start to take them seriously. You'll start to protect your time. You'll stop letting distraction win. You'll build a system that supports your future instead of sabotaging it. Because the truth is, most people already know what they need to do. The problem is, they're waiting for the perfect time. But there is no perfect time. There is only today. There is only the choice to do what matters, even if no one sees it. Especially if no one sees it. That's where the power is. Not in impressing others, but in proving to yourself that you can be trusted to show up for your own life. That's how you build confidence. That's how you change your story. That's how your habits quietly and steadily turn into your future. Some days, you will wake up and feel like you can conquer the world. Other days, even getting out of bed feels like a challenge. That's life. Emotions rise and fall, energy shifts, motivation comes and goes. But here's the truth. The people who succeed are not those who wait for the perfect mood, or the ideal situation, or the lightning strike of inspiration. The people who succeed are the ones who do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. That's the power of discipline. It doesn't ask for your feelings. It asks for your commitment. Motivation is emotional. It feels good. It's the fire that gets you started, the excitement of a new idea, the thrill of a fresh goal. But that fire fades. And when it does, most people stop. They say, I'm just not feeling it today, as if their feelings should decide their future. But the problem is not the lack of motivation. The problem is believing that motivation is supposed to last. It doesn't. That's why you need discipline. Discipline is not glamorous. It doesn't look exciting on social media. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's waking up early when your bed is warm. It's going to the gym when your muscles are sore. It's writing the proposal when your mind is blank. It's saying no to distractions again and again. It's doing the work, especially when you don't want to. Because you made a decision, and discipline honors that decision long after your mood has changed. In any field, business, art, sports, relationships, the difference between average and exceptional is discipline. Talent can take you only so far. Motivation might get you noticed. But discipline builds mastery. Discipline keeps you moving forward when the applause is gone. Discipline is what separates those who talk from those who build. Those who start from those who finish. People often look at successful individuals and assume they are always motivated, always energized, always driven. That's not true. They have doubts. They have lazy days. They get tired. But they've trained themselves to act in spite of those feelings. They've built routines that carry them through the low points. They don't rely on motivation to be consistent. They rely on systems. They rely on self-respect. They rely on discipline. Discipline also gives you freedom. At first, it feels restrictive, saying no to instant pleasure, forcing yourself to work, sticking to routines. But over time, discipline creates more space in your life. When you're disciplined with your time, you gain time. When you're disciplined with your energy, you have more energy. When you're disciplined with your focus, you stop wasting hours on meaningless things. That structure creates freedom to grow, to create, to enjoy what really matters. It's not punishment. It's self-care at the highest level. The hardest part is always the beginning. Starting something when you don't feel like it is uncomfortable. But once you begin, momentum takes over. Action creates energy. Doing the thing builds the desire to keep doing the thing. And even if it doesn't, you still did it. You still won. Because you proved to yourself that you are not controlled by moods. You are led by purpose. Most people are chasing results. But the real win is becoming the kind of person who shows up consistently. That identity is built through discipline. You don't become a writer by writing once when you're inspired. You become a writer by writing every day, even when you hate every word. You don't become strong by going to the gym once on New Year's. You become strong by showing up in March, in July, in October, when no one is watching and no one is clapping. Discipline also teaches you how to trust yourself. Every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, your confidence grows. You start to believe your own words. You start to feel proud, not because of results, but because of consistency. And that pride fuels deeper effort. It becomes a cycle, not of perfection, but of resilience. You'll still have off days. You'll still fall short. But discipline brings you back. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you why you started. No one is born with discipline. It's not a personality trait. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. Every time you push through the resistance, you are training yourself. Every time you choose long-term value over short-term comfort, you are building something unshakable. Discipline is the silent architect of greatness. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention, but its results speak louder than any motivation ever could. The world is full of talented people who never reached their potential. Some had brilliant ideas, some had natural gifts, some were born with advantages that others only dream of. But for one reason or another, they never followed through. They started things but never finished. They talked about what they could do, what they might do, what they planned to do. But talking doesn't create results. Repetition does. Repetition turns skill into mastery, effort into excellence, ideas into outcomes. It is not talent that separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It is the ability to repeat the right actions long enough to see the reward. Many people think talent is the shortcut. They believe if they had more natural ability, life would be easier. They wait for the perfect conditions to begin. But those who rely on talent alone often burn out or give up when things get difficult. Talent might give you a head start, but it doesn't guarantee you'll finish the race. In fact, it can sometimes be a trap. If everything came easily at first, you might not learn how to handle resistance. But repetition teaches what talent can't. Discipline, patience, resilience. Repetition builds habits that become who you are. Success is often boring. It looks like showing up again and again. It looks like practicing the same skill until it becomes second nature. It looks like repeating a process thousands of times until the work becomes smooth and efficient. Most people don't want boring. They want excitement. They want fast results. They want to feel progress in every moment. But real progress doesn't always feel exciting. It's often invisible, happening slowly underneath the surface. Repetition is not glamorous, but it's powerful. It shapes the mind, sharpens the skill, strengthens the spirit. People admire the end result, but ignore the repetition that built it. They see the athlete win the medal, but don't see the endless hours of training. They hear the artist's performance, but miss the years of daily practice. They read the successful book, but never consider the rewrites the edits, the mornings the author didn't feel like writing. The truth is, repetition is the secret most people ignore because it doesn't feel special. But it's repetition that makes excellence look effortless. It's repetition that creates flow. That builds muscle memory. That makes the difficult look natural. There is no progress without repetition. One attempt is not enough. One burst of effort will not carry you to your goal. You have to keep going. You have to be willing to do it badly at first. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable. Repetition means failing forward. It means learning with every round. It means trusting that every time you show up, you're getting better, even if you can't see it yet. And this trust is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Professionals don't wait until they feel ready. They repeat the process until readiness becomes their new default. Consistency through repetition is more valuable than perfection. Perfection is a trap. It keeps you stuck, waiting until everything is just right. But progress comes from movement, from iteration, from the courage to repeat something, even when it's not perfect. Each repetition brings you closer to mastery. Each repetition adds a layer of depth to your understanding. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes natural. What once needed conscious effort becomes automatic. Repetition is how you train your brain, your body, and your beliefs. Even in failure, repetition teaches. Every time you repeat an effort that didn't work, you gain data. You understand what not to do. You refine your method. You adjust your strategy. Repetition is not about doing the same thing blindly. It's about intentional practice, learning with each cycle, growing with each try. That is how mastery is formed, not from a single moment of brilliance, but from repeated moments of effort, reflection, and improvement. When you repeat a habit, it becomes a pattern. When you repeat a pattern, it becomes your identity. And once it becomes your identity, you no longer have to push yourself to do it. It becomes part of who you are. This is the ultimate power of repetition. It reshapes your self-image. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and fails, and you start seeing yourself as someone who shows up, learns, and grows. You become reliable to yourself. You become strong in the process, not just in the result. There will always be people more talented, more connected, more fortunate. But if you are the one who shows up daily, repeats the right actions, learns from each experience, and refuses to quit, you will go further than most. Because repetition is not about being the best. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about trusting the process even when the progress is slow. It's about building something solid, something lasting, one repetition at a time. Your future isn't waiting for a miracle. It's not sitting behind the next big opportunity or the perfect timing you've been hoping for. It's being built by what you choose to do today, right now. Every small action, every habit, every decision is either pushing you toward the person you want to become or pulling you further away from that vision. What you do today matters more than what you say you'll do tomorrow. Because tomorrow never comes with a guarantee, but today is in your hands. Many people believe that success begins with a massive breakthrough. They imagine a moment where everything changes, where their life suddenly shifts from ordinary to extraordinary. But that's not how real growth happens. Real change is slow, it's steady. It begins with choosing to do the hard thing today, not once, but over and over. It means waking up and deciding that your time, your energy, and your potential are not to be wasted. It means treating each day like a stepping stone, because that's exactly what it is. Too often, people delay action. They convince themselves they'll begin when things calm down, when they feel ready, when the conditions are perfect. But those perfect conditions never come. Life is always noisy, unpredictable, full of distractions. Waiting for the right time is just another way of saying you're afraid to start. But starting is the only way forward. And when you understand that your future begins with what you do today, you stop making excuses. You stop looking for shortcuts. You start building. What you choose to do today speaks louder than your intentions. You might intend to get healthy, but if you skip the workout today, that intention is empty. You might intend to start a business, but if you don't take even the smallest step today, read a page, write an idea, make a call, that dream stays in your head, and intentions without action are nothing more than wishes. They fade. They get replaced. But action builds momentum. It creates change. It reshapes the path you're walking on. The smallest things done consistently will change your life more than the biggest things done occasionally. You don't need a grand plan to start. You need to take one clear action and repeat it. Over time, the repetition forms a habit, and the habit shapes your identity. Suddenly, you're no longer trying to become the person you want to be. You are becoming them. You don't need a 10-year vision to move forward. You need to win the next 10 minutes. You need to choose wisely in this hour, this task, this decision. Because your future is not out there, waiting. It's unfolding through the choices you're making right now. Many people underestimate the power of today. They think one day won't matter. One lazy decision, one wasted morning, one more excuse. They think it's harmless. But one day becomes two. Two becomes a week. A week becomes a habit of postponing. Before long, the gap between who you are and who you want to be becomes wider, harder to close. The truth is, the smallest crack in discipline today becomes a canyon over time. That's why urgency is important. Not panic, not pressure, but urgency rooted in clarity. Clarity that time is your most valuable resource. Clarity that every day is either an investment or a cost. Your habits are writing your future story. Every decision you make today is shaping the character you're becoming. If you show up and do the work, even when it's inconvenient, you become reliable. If you choose to learn something new, even when you're tired, you become resourceful. If you speak kindly, even when it's difficult, you become compassionate. These qualities don't arrive all at once. They're built, layer by layer, action by action. They're not gifted. They're earned through consistency. This is why what you do today matters more than you think. It's not about getting everything done perfectly. It's about building trust with yourself. When you do what you said you'd do today, you build self-respect. When you push through even a little resistance, you build resilience. When you keep your word to yourself, your confidence grows. You stop hoping for transformation and start creating it. It's easy to think that change is something that happens to you, something big and dramatic that appears one day, but it doesn't. It's not sudden. It's subtle. It's built through the small decisions you make when no one is watching. Through the way you treat your time, your body, your goals, and your mindset today. When you take responsibility for your actions in this moment, you stop being a passive participant in your life and start becoming the author of your future. The person you'll be next year is being shaped by what you're doing right now. Your actions today are the blueprint. Every hour you invest in growth is a brick. Every moment you choose discipline is a layer of foundation. The future isn't waiting, it's being built. And the builder is you.